Did I crush a child's heart by telling her I wasn't her father? I'm a 36-year-old man, and several years ago I was engaged to a woman named Melissa, who is now 38. We had been close friends since university before we ever dated. Eventually, our relationship ended because we wanted completely different futures. Melissa dreamed of having multiple children and building a large family, while I was focused on my career and had no desire to become a parent. There was no cheating or major fight involved, so we parted amicably and remained in each other's lives. About a year later, Melissa unexpectedly became pregnant after a brief relationship with a man she met while traveling. The situation fell apart quickly. By the time she discovered she was expecting, the man had already moved overseas, and despite her efforts to contact him, he effectively disappeared from her life. Knowing how overwhelmed she was, I couldn't bring myself to walk away. We had known each other for over a decade, and she had very little family nearby. I helped where I could during the pregnancy, whether that meant driving her to appointments, helping with groceries, or covering expenses when things got tight. After her daughter was born, I remained involved as a family friend. I wasn't a parental figure in my mind, but I was definitely a reliable presence. Fast forward to last weekend. Melissa was working a double shift at the veterinary clinic where she manages the front office, so she asked if I could pick up her 6-year-old daughter from a classmate's birthday sleepover. I agreed. When I arrived, I was chatting with the host grandmother near the front entrance while the kids gathered their belongings upstairs. Through the hallway, I overheard one of the children ask Melissa's daughter who I was. Without hesitation, she replied, "That's my dad." The comment caught me completely off guard. Once we got into my truck and started heading home, I decided it would be better to address it immediately rather than let a misunderstanding continue. I told her gently that I cared about her very much, but I wasn't actually her father. I explained that I was more like a godfather or a family friend who loved spending time with her. The entire mood changed instantly. She went quiet, stared out the window, and barely said a word for the rest of the drive. I assumed she was embarrassed and figured she would move past it after a while. I was very wrong. Later that evening, Melissa called me sounding furious. Apparently, her daughter had spent hours crying in her room and repeatedly asking why I didn't want to be her dad. Melissa accused me of handling the situation insensitively and said I should never have corrected her on my own. She argued that I should have either ignored the comment or spoken to her privately first so they could decide together how to explain things. I pushed back and said I wasn't comfortable allowing a child to believe something that wasn't true, especially when a misunderstanding involved parentage. To me, honesty seemed like the obvious choice. Melissa said the issue wasn't honesty itself, but the timing and the fact that I had addressed a complicated emotional subject without preparing the child for it. She believes I unintentionally shattered a fantasy that had become important to her daughter. Now things are tense between us. I genuinely thought I was doing the responsible thing by correcting a misconception, but seeing how devastated the little girl became has me questioning whether I handled the situation badly. Was I wrong for telling her the truth?